Apologies for that, folks. I forgot to put my mic on before getting started. Right, how's everyone doing? Hope everyone's see. I know that we are currently streaming at the same time Nero is, so oh, and my axe. Perfect. Yeah, I'm not expecting too many people to show up right now. Audio okay now? Hey Thomas, how you doing, bud? How you doing? All right, how's music? Is music too loud? Is it distracting? Should I put it down for now? Should I put it up? Right. Whilst you let me know how the sound is sounding. How the sound is sounding. That's a very professional sentence there, Jake. I'm gonna go collect some printed parts in the back of the room. Go away, Windows. Why are you sending me stuff? I'm gonna put it on the floor now. You can hardly hear music. Audio is fine. Okay, in that case, I'll pump the music up just a wee bit. Just a wee bit. Hello, Noobish. How you doing, bud? All right, I ain't gonna put one of my earphones away. It's way too loud, otherwise I can't concentrate. I'll put it there. Good for now. Oh, and that stops the music. There we go. Right, so we are going to be continuing with the Milo Joker build. If you're joining us for the first time ever, a Joker build is basically just a color scheme where we do green and purple. It's nothing too special. We're doing a few things differently than we would normally. I'm doing steel FMJs for one. I'm running, if you can see, I wish my touch portal was working because otherwise I would actually be able to zoom in on this. But you might be able to see there are some brass nuts that we installed on last stream, and those just help drive the locking collars into the part a little bit better, so you have much less backlash overall. We're going to be doing an HOI mod at some stage. Dave has said he's going to mill some for me on stream and then send them over when he's done that. So we're going to be doing HOI. We're not doing a classic electronics box. We're going to put it straight into CASA. So when it gets time to doing the electronics box, we'll just assemble the structural part of it and then throw everything else out the window into CASA. Hey Josh, how you doing, bud? Right. Last episode, we managed to get the y-axis done, so I'm going to put this aside for now. I did measure this, by the way. Well, weigh it, not measure. And it weighs 4.5 kilos just for the y-axis. And then it's going to get heavier and heavier and heavier from there. Put those to the side for now. And let's open up document shared, shall we? And get that up on the screen for you guys. Much thanks for subscribing, dude. Right, let me get something. I need to get the assembly manual, the x-axis. You guys should be able to see that now, and you'll be able to follow along a little bit. Right, so what will I need first? I will need a bit of aluminium extrusion, which is also in the box at the back of the room, because I don't prepare for streams apparently. Follow me, and you'll see a world of pure imagination. There we go. Those should be all the axis extrusions that I need. Love the wild colors. They're nice, aren't they? If you are looking at getting a set of printed parts, we do sell them over on the DMS store. The only Wonka movie, yes. What was the actor in it called? Was it Gene Wilder? Yeah, that's it. So we tried a bit of the raise method last time, and I guess that works for the y-axis. I'm not too sure how it works with the x-axis, so I'm going to just skip that and do what the manual tells me to. Oh, those nearly labeled little LDO bags remind me of my Voron 0.1 kit. What a joy to build this stuff. Yeah, they can be. We don't talk about the bags. I spent enough time last stream talking about the bags. They are the bane of my existence at times. Give your extrusions a happy tap on granite to check for twists. I have done it on. I don't have a granite plate. I do have a glass top that goes on my my stovetop, and I have checked them on that just to double check. You can. I'll show you how to do it now. Also get a 1, 2, 3 block. Lay them on. Give it a press down on each side. At a few points along the extrusion. And if you don't hear any tapping or any moving or feel any moving on the 1, 2, 3 block, it should be fine. And it's always a good idea to check both sides. So I can feel a little bit of twist on this end. Not much. It's literally the tiniest little thing. Yeah, I heard of a few. So this was this was the beta 2 kit. So this isn't one of the kits that you guys would have got. This is prior to even that. When I got sent, originally the LDO kits were meant to come with aluminium hand wheels. We said that these were just an unnecessary cost. Most people are going to actually remove their hand wheels at some stage. They're nice, but they really just boost the cost up for no real gain at all. Right, so how many do I need? Every second. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need 7 of these. Finished printing all my black parts, but ran out of blue with just the spindle mount, 2 feet, and hand wheels to go. Then found out the blue that is no longer made, although I'm hoping to find some new old stock. Oh, what company used to make it? Wow, neat. What would the price of the hand wheels have been? Those hand wheels, I can imagine them being like $40 a piece. It's one of those things that you add them, but they don't add very much to the actual build. They're nice, but they're more for looks. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. Don't need that one. That one can go get lost in the Shadow Realm. And then we can do some lining up. Missed last stream, the easiest way to line these up is to get 2.5 Allen wrench, find whatever hole you're going to use, stick it through there, and then into the hole, into the thread for the T-nut, and then you can pull it back and align it like that. It lines it well enough so that you can initiate the thread later, and then the thread will bring itself into alignment. What is also annoying is my V2.4, V2, and VSW, Voron switch wire, are all black and that blue. Eason, what blue is it? Because I'm pretty sure they still... I've got a bunch of Eason blue for the shop at the moment, and I would hate to find out that that got discontinued, because I still need to do a whole lot of orders with that very blue color. Am I going mad? No, I'm not going mad. There we go. Now we need one last one. And we can clip these on, and then we can find my second least favorite type of screw. Well, apparently most favorite after Casa, the M3 by 10. Oh, you're kidding me. I did this all with the M5 dropping T-nuts. Ah. Right, restart. I'm going to use the ones on the other side as a reference. Don't. Oh, yeah. It's about 400, somewhere between 400 and 450 M3 by 10s. I don't know off the top of my head. It also depends on what modules you're installing. Just labeled blue, but notice it wasn't on Amazon, so check the website and it wasn't on there either. Well, I just ordered some blue this morning, and I can definitely tell you that it's still there. They might just not have it made up yet. Sunspine US is sometimes weak. It may come shortly. Yeah. Yeah, Eason's like that. I wish it was easier to get Polymaker filaments in the UK. I did get a bunch of Polymaker stuff as a kind of mini sponsorship deal with them. And it was good stuff. It's just a lot harder to get in the UK. I wonder if we could start stocking it on the shop. Yes, I did grab the whole. Well, I put in an order this morning for 10 rolls of the black ABS, and I think they were the last ones that they had. But we need them for the shop. I don't get that. I don't get why it's less expensive on Amazon than it is on their own store. Generally, it's the other way around, I've found. I know the LDO PLA is so much cheaper on their store than it is on Amazon. Oh, you want some on NeoStream? Nice. Yeah, I don't think I'm quite big enough to start giving stuff away just yet. On the YouTube side of stuff. On the shop side of stuff, we might be doing some stuff soon. We might be doing a B stock giveaway, so it's all the stuff that has like minor scratches on it, some stuff that we got, some FMJs that I've got that I'm not using, stuff like that. Considering our main stock is still stuck somewhere in customs, it's the best we can do at this point in time. I just did like the 10 pack of LDO PLA for 110 US. It's ridiculous, man, and It always annoys me how cheap you guys get stuff in the US. I get that you guys say things are expensive, but comparatively to the UK, everything's so cheap. Except for medical care. That's the only thing that's not cheap. Casabona was 5 kilograms thicker than specified. Yeah, Casa is not a light build or like that. PLA should be good for it actually. Anything where you require just pure strength, PLA is actually better than you think. A lot of people think of it as a weak material, but it's only weak in terms of it will shatter if it's not very impact resistant. In terms of like torsional loading, it's all right. In terms of compressive and intention strength, it's actually really good. People sleep on it. It's probably one of the better ones. Watch CNC Kitchen's video on it. PLA also is really stiff, like Josh says. So if you're trying to make anything structural, PLA is probably, as long as it's not going to sit in a hot room, probably a good idea to print it in. I will say that I designed Casa using ABS, but that's because I just print more ABS and tends to be what I have on hand. Making some good catches. So that's what the guide is based off of. Is that the Eastern ABS Plus that you brought? If you're running it on a P1S, let me know what temps you're using. I'm just using the stock Bamboo Labs temps. 90 degree on the bed, which I normally actually end up manually bumping up to 100. Not because I see any warping or anything, but just because I'm cautious. Yeah, I'm not liking the UI on the P1S. I'm not gonna lie. It's been frustrating the last couple of days. And it's mostly, it's nothing to do with the fact that it's easy or anything like that. Because for the average user, they're going to be slicing something, printing it, and then forgetting about that forever. Because I run production in this room, I need to be able to go over to my machine, look through a menu, look through folders, and press what I want, the program I want, and run that multiple times. And that gets really annoying on the P1S, especially since you don't know what the last print was if you're printing from the SD card. When you're on the actual web interface for it, it doesn't show you your print history unless it's printed from the cloud. And I don't print from the cloud very often because I keep files on my machines, go up to them, press print, and go. So I tend to name my plates plate 1, plate 2, plate 3, plate 4, and then whatever project is part of it at the beginning. So it's a Voron plate 2, for example. And what I did this morning was I accidentally pressed the same plate twice because I didn't know where I was in the list. And normally I just go and check what the last print was and then print the next plate. But you can't do that on the P1S. In other words, really annoying. Question for guys: any reason why you have the external panels mounted with printed clips rather than seated in the other? Because they shake. They're a lot easier to install when you've got them seated up against things. You run less of a risk of tearing the weather stripping. The weather stripping is the thing that makes it soundproof. It's the thing that makes the most impact on the soundproofing. It makes it easier to do maintenance on them, so you can take the whole panel off without having to disassemble the frame. All in all, sticking them between the panels, between the extrusions, just it makes your life more difficult. It's less soundproof. It's more hard wearing. Sorry, it breaks down the acrylic faster, and you have to design a clip that specifically puts pressure on them so that they don't rattle around all the time. Yeah, P1P isn't great on board selecting prints at all. Sucks. I've been adapted to always control my slicer with multi-plate projects open. Yeah, and that's fine if you're doing a project or one or two of something, but I'm running plate after plate after plate after plate. Like, it gets a bit ridiculous after a while. So I'm genuinely thinking, what's that firmware upgrade that they've rooted the firmware on it? There's a project that's done it. I hope they've done it for the P1S as well. I'll leave those there for now. I hope they've done it for the P1S as well, and that way I can actually control it like a printer I normally would control. What's the next step to be? I need flange bearings. X1 Plus, that's the one. That's only for the X series. Unfortunately, the P series, I don't think they've hacked. That's a shame. I would have hopped right onto that. Right, flange bearings are all done. So I'm going to throw that baggie up on the floor over there. I'm going to do the same thing I did last time, just to make my life a little bit less hell. Because I'm just going to tape these down, just so they're not falling out whilst I'm doing the assembly. Yeah, I hope they do something for the X1 series. Sorry, the P1 series of printers, because I think those are the ones that everyone's going to be buying. Kind of like V0s are the most popular Voron from what I can tell. They're the ones that everyone buys and everyone assembles and then realizes how hard it is for an assembly. Choose noise cancellation down one step. I don't have any noise cancellation open. Don't quite know what you mean there. Right. Put my noise gate down. So hopefully that's a little bit better. Oh my god, the captive nuts 1515. Yeah, they're not fun. They're not fun. I'm going to need. What am I going to need? We'll skip that for now. Actually, no, we won't skip that. We'll do that now. Let me get the soldering iron out. Ugh, spaghetti. All right. Hold on to your butts. Core attack. Sweet. Why is that set at 300? Let's do 280. I'll move that for now. I got scared there because I didn't recognize this part because it's got the LDO little fin on it, and I was like, I got worried because I thought I didn't print it for a second. Okay, I thought the noise suppression for the printers is kicking in. No, I don't have noise suppression. Yeah, I've got a noise gate, so if I start to scream whilst I'm on stream or something like that, it'll cut out then. But not noise suppression, no. I'm gonna need some M5s. Anyways, how's everyone's day been? What's everyone been up to? Also, 13 people with 8 likes. I think we can get that number a little bit higher. How's about you do your old Uncle Jake a favor and shoot us a like? Got my bandsaw set up today. Nice. Is that to cut stock with? I love how people go into projects going, oh, this is all I'm going to spend on them. And then you end up buying a whole new machine to do this whole thing. I know people who have built Milo just so that they can make printer parts. And that's the only reason. It's one specific set of printer parts. And then they have no plan to use it after that. Installed the LDO DFD today. Still got to wire it. It's so small compared to the HY. Yeah, I think because they're meant to be installed in DIN cupboards. The issue with the HY is they're so big. They're kind of the standard for DIY builds, but they're so big. I don't want to design with them in mind because your electronic box is going to be huge. Like for V2, I want to be able to fit all the electronics into that box and have it all DIN mountable. So CASA was a bit of an experiment for me, for the electronics box at least, to make everything DIN mountable. So we're literally going to steal those DIN mounts from CASA, and those are going to go in every single machine going forward. I'm still waiting for my batch 2 Fabrico delivery. Oh, they haven't even been sent out yet. The batch 2 gets sent out in 3 weeks' time, and then they've got to ship for 2 weeks. Whoever's reselling them is going to have to, what's it called? It's going to have to hold on to them for at least a week whilst they repackage things and get things sorted and yada yada yada. There's going to be at least a month and a half, maybe 2 months. I started building an enraged rabbit carrot feeder for my CR10 now. I'm multiple heavily modified Vorons, both personal and for work, awaiting a Milo. Nice. Yeah, that's the way it goes. Uh, 280 may be a bit too much for M3, so let's go down to 240. Watched 2 guys put up a log cabin in the garden today. I was thinking of doing it myself, but I'm glad I did. What do you mean by a log cabin? Why was there a log cabin in your garden? I'm confused. I'm confused, but I want to know more. "12 people watching, 11 likes. Who's that last person? Who's that last person who hasn't done it?" To get rid of my daughter. Now peace and quiet. Nice. To get away from his wife. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong there. Right. I don't have the M2.5s that fit because the ones that were sent with this kit were too small. Again, this is like pre-official finished kit, like final kit assembly. Some stuff doesn't work, or some stuff I'm going to have to figure out myself in this kit. So don't take this stream or this set of streams as gospel for what you should and shouldn't do. But yeah, I am missing the M2.5s, which I'll install another time. I have put some on order from CNC Kitchen, and hopefully they'll fit. If they don't, I'll just drill it out and do it that way. I threw out my cardboard. Casa Hardware gets here in a couple of weeks, so I'm refusing to build the temp enclosure. Oh, well, you're going to build a cardboard enclosure for it. Do I need to tap any of these? Nope. Yeah, for the Y-axis, we had to tap 2 more holes. These ones should be fine now. I'm guessing these are M3 by 12. M5 by 12, sorry. M5 by 12s. I was right. It's almost as if I designed this machine. That's something I'm going to do a lot better for V2. I'm definitely going to make them be a lot less screws, a lot less different types of screws. Drill the end stops to M3. That's the thing. The CNC Kitchen end stops. Sorry, the CNC Kitchen brass inserts are M3 sized. They just have an M2.5 thread on them. So I'll drill those out to 4 millimeters, which is the diameter you need for them. And then just use the CNC Kitchen ones rather than the LDO specific ones. Ah, no. Trying to make it so you guys can see what I'm actually doing, but it's a bit awkward when you sat down. Also, I've just seen that we've had 3 or 4 more subscribers. So thank you, welcome. I hope you do enjoy your stay here at the Hotel DMS. This spike gets in the way. So if you're trying to tighten this down from the top, you have to reset it every few turns because it gets in the way, and I don't like that. It's absolutely fine to have it, but it annoys me. My panels for Casa are arriving Monday. Extrusions soon. Why? That sounds so ominous. Soon. Thing is, if I stand up for this bit here, just to make it easier for myself, you guys end up seeing nothing but the middle of my body on the face cam. So I really need to set up the other side of the room as a proper streaming setup. I keep saying I'm going to do it. I keep not having enough money to do it. Ain't that always the way? Right, that's now sitting flush. Perfect. Soon, TM. I like it. I did definitely try and cut down on the amount of different types of screws, because believe it or not, a lot of the parts originally didn't use the M5x12s. There was only a few places with those, and I made it my mission to go through the entire design and use them all. I'm sure it's been asked a million times, is there a kind of ETA for CASA kit? It's 2 weeks until they get to testers, because remember, not only do we test them, LDO also has to test them themselves with the components that they put in the kits. They can't always just take our bomb and use exactly the same stuff. CASA takes a day to build if you're quick about it. So I'm expecting 3 weeks until we know what's happening with that, at least. Just now ordered my next batch of inserts from Stefan, including M2.5x4. Yeah, they're good inserts, man. They're my go-to. I like them. I think there's a little bit of warp going on here, which is causing this bit to kick out. That's fine. That should come back in when we install the other side. Why do you ask, Scott? Are you in desperate need of a CASA enclosure? 3 to 4 weeks to go for the next batch. A few weeks for them to source and build another at least a month for slow boat shipping, 3 ship. It's gonna be a while. Yeah, it's gonna. I will estimate, and this is a complete guesstimation. It's gonna be about 5 months before they get to anyone's door. About 3 months for pre-orders. 5 months to get to people's door. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of lining up before I go any further. I'm going to take these out, and I'm just going to, because you can't, actually no. No, we'll put the other bits on first. Put the other bits on first, and then we'll do that. Loose idea on the rough cost for CASA. I got away with 700 quid, but I wasn't being cheap about it. I was doing a lot of Amazon orders where things are a lot more expensive. And a lot of the time when you're ordering custom panels, one set of custom panels, they can become expensive. The way I designed CASA was that there's only 2 panels on the entire thing that are their own size. All the other panels have to have at least a twin somewhere on the build in terms of sizing, and that's just to cut down on when you kind of lead into economies of scale. The more of a single piece of a single size you can cut, the less expensive it becomes. So I'm estimating at around about 500 USD for the kit. All right. So yeah, 500 US for the kit. I don't understand totally Ray's method. I did try. I did do it on the first Y bit. I'm going to do a kind of Ray's method in a second. What I've done is I've actually left the rails loose a little bit. And then I'm going to put all the side pieces on, slide it on, tighten up the rails, tighten up the carriages, and do it like that. I don't quite understand Ray's method. I understand it, but I don't understand the reasoning behind some of it, because some of it just doesn't seem practical. For my last project, I had a local glass company cut out panels for, and it looked like they used a hacksaw to cut them. You were making a project with glass panels, or was it just they tried to cut acrylic with glass cutting tools, and it didn't work out very well? Again, is it a long piece in the middle or a long piece at the side? Long pieces in the middle, by the looks of it. There are more shorties. That looks about right. It's just for folks like me who've lost balls on smaller carts and nightmares that is. Yeah, I don't really have that issue. I haven't lost any on this build so far. Crossing fingers. But who knows? I might lose some. Yeah. I just don't see how you can get an accurate build up with it. Like, there's some parts of it I do understand, and I think are actually something that we should add to the main manual. Just some bits I don't understand. That's why I said I'm doing a semi-raised build, raised technique. If you end up having a bit of twist in your bed or something like that, sorry, not twist, any flexing in the bed because of the printed parts on the end, the supports, what you can do is you can put blind holes in with a 100-kilo block of your studio, disconnected, reconnecting. Right, did I cut out here? Have I cut out there? Give us a shout, give us a thumbs up in chat if you are still here, if we did cut out for a bit. Because OBS said we cut out, but stream's still good on my end. Losing me intermittently. Okay. Is there anything I can do to help that out? What's that? Yes, you did, but you're back. I'm back. Okay, I'm back. All right. Well, hopefully I stay back. Right. I need top bits. I need M5 by 12. Yeah, I've been having some connection issues all day. It really isn't pleasant. And then M5 by 8. These are M5 by 8. It's quitting time. Gotta run. Nice catching up with Jake. No worries, dude. Thanks for coming. I hope you enjoyed being around, and thank you for interacting. It always helps. Hope you can get back to your projects. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Right, now that Josh is gone, we can talk behind his back. That's what we do on YouTube, isn't it? Say really nasty things like how nice of a person Josh is and how he has good opinions on stuff. Is that trash talk? Is that how people do it? I don't know. Nah, I guess he still listens. What time is it over there for you, Thomas? It must be like near midnight at this point. It is nearly 10 o'clock here, so it can't be. You're in somewhere in Europe. I think, if I can remember correctly. Never assume I can remember correctly. It's never something I've been very good at. I can hear the bamboo going on the background. You stay quiet. I'm trying to stream over here. Thank you. They're not quiet machines, are they? Nearly 11. Everything's fine as long as I don't fall asleep in front of the TV again. Again? Did you get caught last time? There's nothing wrong with falling asleep in front of the TV. This room backs onto my bedroom, so my bedroom's on this side of the other side of this wall here. Ignore all the cables and things. I've just realized that you can see those in camera. My room backs over here, and I've got 2 printers under this desk. And sometimes when I've got prints that need to be finished for the next day because they're going out for delivery or something like that, I had to sleep on the couch because they just vibrate so badly through the wall, and I need to buy some like dishwasher matting or washing machine matting or something like that to put underneath them because it becomes unbearable. It just becomes unbearable. I also need to upgrade my carbon filters in this room because I spec them. I have a couple of, I don't know if you can see them, just behind this monitor over here. I have an Amazon like room filter, like air filter type thing, and I have some carbon pellets in there to help with the ABS. And I always have the window behind me open, even if it's just slightly. But you can, if I stay in here for like 5 hours at a time, I start to get a bit of a headache. So I need to get another one of those and start helping out. I didn't expect this room to have 4 printers going on printing ABS at all times. Put it like that. Print something, some anti-vibration pads. It's not that. It's just this desk was made by myself. If you can't tell by the supreme artisanry, I just need to replace this. Really, it was a cheap way of having a desk when I moved in, and I've always planned on getting rid of it, but I never did. My desk at work is the right night. is right next to our print farm of about 20 printers. Noise cancelling headphones are a must. Yeah, I do have some. The earphones I have on now are meant to be noise cancelling, but I can feel it through my bedpost sometimes. I don't like sleeping with earphones in. Daily plastic consumption quota. Yeah, if you're not inhaling at least 200 grams of ABS a day, your doctor's not going to be happy with you. That's medical knowledge and research right there. It's 5 pieces of vegetable or fruit a day and 200 grams of ABS. You know, just so that your cancer can have cancer. Mate, at this point, my lungs are made of ABS. I hear this a lot on like Reddit and things. People say ASA is better for you because you can't smell it as much. Yes, you can't smell it as much, but it doesn't mean it's still not affecting your lungs in the exact same way. It's just as bad for you from a health perspective. So please do make sure that you're getting a lot of fresh air. I get loads of fresh air through my work because I'm an outdoor instructor. So I kind of offset it a little bit. I don't go from a stuffy office to a stuffy print room full of ABS every day. I go from the great outdoors to a stuffy print room, so I can kind of get away with it a bit more. At least that's how it works in my head. No idea if that's how it actually works. But I do know that one of the treatments for things like ABS poisoning or CO2 poisoning or stuff like that, where you've had a lot of exposure, is to not have any exposure or go outside and have as little exposure to it as possible. Effectively, one of the only treatments you can have with stuff like that is just don't do it. Filtration is a massive help. The work we do prototyping sensors, including air quality, it's eye-opening how bad air quality can be. Yep. I don't have any air sensors in here. I wish I did. I do change out the filters every month. I have a big bag of carbon pellets somewhere. I actually don't know where I put it. That's alarming. I'll find them another time. There's a little 3D printed holder which holds all the carbon pellets in my little Amazon air purifier. It normally comes with a HEPA filter. I've taken the HEPA filter out and replaced it with the carbon pellet one. And it seems to have made a massive difference. I don't get headaches as much anymore. But they are starting to creep in a bit more now that I'm printing so much. I do wish someone came out with an open source room purifier. I think that would really help. It would also bring the price down for your typical purifiers, because a normal room purifier is like 70 quid here in the UK. I don't get it. Why are they so expensive? It's a fan and a HEPA filter. Doesn't make any sense. And HEPA filters are cheap as fuck anyway. The one I have next to my desk is worth £2,000. Jesus. Yeah, it's gonna be my next. It's gonna be my next request to Daddy Dave. Once it becomes too unbearable, I'm gonna ask if we can start printing. Start putting some money together for a proper filter in here. I ran IKEA purifiers for a while. The older, larger ones are pretty quiet. Yeah, I've seen people do some kind of box fan mods where they get a box fan, they put a HEPA filter in front of it, and they just seal it all around. And those work really good for like your larger size particles. I'm sure someone could do something similar with a box fan and some carbon pellets. Dave will just tell me to open a window. Dave's actually a really good partner to be with because put it like this: he accepted someone who had no idea anything about business to be his business partner, right? And he taught me everything I needed to know. He set everything up. He does all the admin side. I just run the warehouse. The warehouse being my flat at this point in time. I have an Nevermore on. I have a Nevermore on my Trident because it came with the parts to build one. I have a carbon filter on the Bamboo, but that doesn't recirculate air. I don't get why Bamboo did it, because unless you're printing PLA, it doesn't do anything because it exhausts the hot air. I don't think it recirculates it inside the chamber. And when you're printing ABS, exhausting hot air is the last thing you want. I also have, on the Cheetah ones, the small X Smart 3s, I have this kind of the same thing as the Bamboo Lab. It exhausts it. I've done a couple mods to put some carbon filters on the back of them, and the print finish G-code sets the fans on to 10%, pulls all that heat out slowly, but also pulls out all the ABS fumes. And you can't do that on the Bamboo Labs. Not that I've checked very hard, but it seems to be a lot more closed down ecosystem. There's no config file I can change to set the fans running after a print's finished. There's no macro I can change, which I would love. If you gave me all the features and things that are on the P1P, sorry, the P1S, and just made it normal clipper, I would be happy with that. I would be so eternally happy with that. It would be the best machine I own. Currently, the UI on it is just bringing the whole experience down for me. I do, however, love the fact that I've got another large format 3D printer. My Trident has been on the fritz for a long time now, and it's just a constant marathon of having to repair it. it prints fine now, but the quality's not great since I updated Clipper and the whole thing with that's happening with all the Clipper installs at the moment, where it just seems to be bricking everything. Got to me, and I had to uninstall Input Shaper on it. And without Input Shaper, it just doesn't print that well. And that's just a firmware issue. That's just that's a Clipper issue that a lot of people have at the moment. I don't like how every new printer uses proprietary frame, etc. I don't mind that. I don't mind that. It's really, really hard to design something that is high powered, that is fast or sturdy or something like that with just standard components. It's really hard to do it. That's why FMJs are a thing. With us, we're trying to keep it. We're trying to keep it so that it's easily manufacturable for things that you do need to manufacture. So FMJs are, you can laser cut them easily. Hold on, give me a second. I just need to put my earphones away. Or one of my earphones away because it's dying. Yeah. So things like FMJs, they're nice to have. They are totally custom. They're completely custom frame. They're completely custom part. We recommend them. You don't need them, but they really do help. And those are the type of things where I'm okay with it because it's easy to manufacture. It's not too expensive to do it. If you live in the States, you can send it off to Send Cut Send and you can get them back for like $40 for a pair. That's really not bad for what it gives you. I had to reflash the MCUs again, but no other issues with Clipper lately. Maybe I should pause updates for a while. I think what I need to do is I need to rebuild my Trident again, because I've done so many different things on it. I put tap on it. I did a whole load of things to it. Some of my cables broke and I had to rewire those. The issue with any kind of one of these builds is if you don't plan it from the start, fixing the issue later becomes a lot harder to deal with. I had a working Trident. I loved it. Right, when it was just the stealth burner with the old proximity sensor that they had for bed leveling, and then the external end stop switch that you used to press down on. That worked so well for so long. Then I started messing with things. I changed the extruder out to a VZ extruder because I wasn't happy with the stealth burner, Clockwork 2. And I've had more issues with the Hextrude than I had with the Clockwork 2, and I upgraded to Tap. And Tap has just been a myriad of just fuck-ups. It made me realize how little time I actually spent squaring everything up properly. Yeah, for wiring, the pre-wired harnesses where LDO breaks it out, has their own breakout board, and you're just using is it Molex connectors? I think they're called Molex connectors. They're really good for when you're doing the build, but they break so easily, and when they break, fishing a new wire through is horrible to do. Where if it's all single wires, what I would normally do is I just get some some of that solder heat shrink that you can get. It's a bit of heat shrink that has some solder in the middle of it, and you just melt those down and you repair them like that. And I've done that on many builds in the past, and they've always held up. You can't really do that on the LDO one because you don't know where the wires are going. And that's not a complaint at LDO at all. It's not at all, because I should be the one who fixes that issue. That stuff arises with 3D printed. It's part of the game. All right. There's no one else to blame but myself here. It just is really annoying to deal with when you've got other stuff to deal with on the side. How much effort do you put into squaring tramming your Milo? I tend to put kind of a medium effort into tramming. I'm of the opinion that it's a hobby tool, a hobby machine. If you're chasing hundredths of a millimeter, right, you're just gonna come up. You're gonna spend hours doing it, and you're gonna come up being annoyed for a tool that you use every so often. Hey, Steve. How you doing, bud? Can't say long, but I want to stop by and say hi. No worries, dude. Thanks for coming. Anyone know if Nero's still streaming? Perfection is the energy to... Wait, what did I say? Perfection is the enemy of complete. Not sure I understand that. Not sure I understand what that means. What have you been doing today, Steve? What have you been up to? Right, let's get this out of the way, because I'm going to bring the y-axis on to the table. I also whistle a lot when I'm on stream. It's really strange. You might hear it when I'm speaking. I end some words with a little bit of a whistle. And I don't know why, because I don't normally do that when I'm speaking to like a mate or something. It only ever seems to happen on stream. I get really hyper-conscious about it. Steve, I should have printed some of your organizers, your part organizers, because man, this is getting out of hand. I am building without a hex tray, and I regret all my decisions. Did you have to pay for CAD software while designing the Milo? No. So I hopped between various different licenses for Fusion 360. The first license I had was just the free hobbyist license that everyone has. It was back before they limited it to only 10 active designs. And then that license changed, and I said, I remember sending a message to the Reddit at the time, the subreddit at the time, saying, oh, I can't continue because I can't not import other files for reference when I'm designing stuff, because a lot of designing stuff is importing work that other people have done to then use as reference, because otherwise it would take a million years to get anything done. Then I got a student license because I was at university at the time. I wasn't doing a university degree that required any engineering, so I kind of managed to get away with that, and I managed to use that for 3 years. And then now we're on a startup license, but because we don't make any money, I don't get how Fusion allows that. I'm just hoping they don't change it. But we do have a startup license for the Millennium team at the moment. Right. What is the best way to do this? Right. The issue I find with the raise mod, sorry, the raise technique of doing this, is these need to be installed in here first. You flip everything over, then you can tighten everything down. The issue with that is you can't make, there's no way to assure that these rails are perpendicular with these rails on the y-axis that way, because you can't use your rail clips to make sure that they're straight. Right? So you'd either need to take these parts on, then reinstall them later, which is just a pain, and then do everything, or you need to do what I do, where I leave them loose, or leave one side loose as a non-reference, slide them back in at this point, and then tighten them all down. You can usually get away with that for 2, maybe 3 years, depending on what the limit is. Yeah, I'll say it straight up. Once Onshape gets a CAD, a CAM program, I'm hopping straight over there. And I'm getting rid of my PC. For the most part, I actually use my Steam Deck as my main PC. I play games on this one whenever I need something that needs a bit more power. And then I play games on my TV in the living room. And whenever I want to do just work, just normal work, I use my Steam Deck. I have Windows installed on there. It's all on a partition. So, and it's just so much easier. And I can use Fusion on my Steam Deck. Onshape doesn't work so well, weirdly. And I know that's weird because one is a local program, the other is a cloud program. It's just weird. I sometimes use virtual machine clones to renew 30-day trials of programs so I don't have to torrent them. That's a lot of effort. That's a lot of effort. Right, so carriages are loose, rails are loose. Well, one of them is. I'm going to tighten the other side on this one. I'm just tightening the end pieces up. I've already referenced this one using the clips, so that's fine. I'll tighten this side and that side up. I'll leave these loose in the middle for now. This one is tightened on one side, but not on the other. So there's a little bit of movement on this side. The carriages are loose. So hopefully this should make the whole thing a bit easier to slide in. There we go. That's one set in. 2 sets in. I don't get why people find that so difficult to do. It's like the one thing that we got loads of feedback on was that process. I don't quite understand why people find it so difficult. But c'est la vie. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do kind of a dirty man's alignment, poor man's alignment. I'm going to put some 1, 2, 3 blocks up here. I put this on the wrong way around, haven't I? Oh well. It's meant to go on from the other side. Oh, I've done that twice this stream. Oh, Steve left. Bye, Steve. here I am talking about how easy this is and why I don't understand why people find it hard to do, and then I mess it up myself. Goodness gracious. Right, let's flip this around so it's that side, and then do the same thing again. Let's move the 1, 2, 3 blocks. There we go. Clean as a whistle. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this up against this block here. Do I have any clamps nearby? Do I have any clamps nearby? I do have a clamp nearby. Now, let me adjust my camera so that you can see this a bit better. So, what I've got is I've got a 1, 2, 3 block that's butting up against the Y bearing block. I've just clamped it down so it's not moving. I'm going to slowly move this towards the bed towards it. Got to make sure that the only thing the bed's going to come in contact with is that 1, 2, 3 block. Right, and this should give you a rough alignment. I know this needs to move that way. That should be roughly perpendicular now. Well, roughly, not roughly. This should be perpendicular to movement. I'm going to tighten up one of the carriages. Just like that. Perfect. Now I have a reference carriage that I can work off of, and this should be perpendicular to the movement of the y-axis. I did it differently, but I agree, if you don't rush, it's totally doable. Yeah. Not that hard. Not that hard at all. Right, 17 people here with 19 likes. I am loving those YouTube numbers. YouTube should give me a medal, I think. Not really. I'm not that good. Right, so I know that's my reference carriage over here, these 4 screws. I'm not going to touch those. I'm going to tighten 1 screw on a corner of each of these, and that's just so that they can pivot around that screw. And then I'm just going to run it up and down and up and down a few times. Now this was my reference rail over here, so that's the one I'm going to focus last on. I'm going to go from the outside in. All right, so all the way this way, tighten this rail down. Move it all the way to this side. Tighten that end. And then we'll go from the outside in whilst changing rails. So we'll do this rail first. And then we'll do this rail. Now, once I get to the last few, I'm going to start tightening up the carriages because they might still be out of alignment just a little bit, and it saves me having to undo the middle bolts if they start to bind. Right, we're not tightening these up all the way, just tightening them enough that we can feel if they're going to bind. All right, so that's got a little bit tighter, but it's still smooth. So I'm going to go back to tightening the rail bolts. Right, these are the last bolts of the rails. Ugh. Yeah. So that's a little tight in the center. Not too tight though, it still flows quite easily. What I think that's from is just from the actual extrusion not being completely flat, but that is well within what I would call decent tolerance. If there's no screw on it and it can move under its own weight all the way down, then I think it's absolutely fine. Perfect. So I'm going to flip this back over now. Be careful it doesn't fall off the rails. Ooh. Yeah, that's nice. That is nice. Position this in a way that I can actually see what I'm doing. And we'll start to install this bit here, the bearing block. This should just be M5 by 12s. M5 by 12, there we go. Right, if you haven't done so already, shout your name in chat, say hi. I want to see who's here today. I want to see who my fans are. No, not really. I just like seeing who shows up for these kind of streams. It's my little like guilty pleasure. If you haven't said so already, that is. Obviously, Thomas, you don't need to shout your name out. I know you're here. Oops. Hey, Glengus. Glengus. Is it Glengus or is it Glengus? I feel like Glengus is like. I don't mean to cause any offense here. Glengus is like a boss name, like a video game boss name. Hello, Margus. How you doing, bud? Margus and Glengus. Nice. They're like a twin set of bosses. Like the two the bosses from Dark Souls. What are they? What are they called? I forget. Sorry, got distracted. It's all right, bud. Don't worry. Right. Glengus, Margus, what have you two been up to today? Why aren't you going in? Hmm. My name is Glenn, but people gave me the nickname as Genghis Khan. Nice. I like that. Right, one of these fasteners isn't going in. I don't quite think the extrusion, the hole at the end of the extrusion is lined up properly. I think it's a bit off-centered. That's absolutely fine. What I can do is later on I can come through with a drill, open up that hole so it's in the printed part so that it's bigger. And then once that's been done, it should just be a case of being able to slide it back into that thread. I might need to chase that thread again if I manage to nick it with the drill bit, but chasing threads is what I do. Oof, Dark Souls, not good for the blood pressure. No. No, nor is heroin, but people still take that. That's not an endorsement, by the way. Right. Let's get a lead screw from the back of the room. What I can probably do is this is probably going to be easier to see from that angle. Worst camera, but you'll be able to actually see what I'm doing. It's Sunday morning here, so I've slept in. Should be printing parts, but the kit got delayed again. Oh no! Sorry to hear it, bud. Sorry to hear it. Where is it Sunday morning in the world right now? Guessing Australia type of way, kind of Australia, Japan. I doubt Glenn is a Japanese name, but you never know. My knife. Where'd my knife go? Oh, Saturday morning. Why did I say Sunday morning? Ugh. Ah, nice. Good to have a Kiwi here. At least someone in the room is going to make some sense. Bean hay. It was really funny. I was watching Nero's stream earlier, and there was a German guy on the stream, and we were talking about how machinists in the States and in the UK tend to be quite grumpy guys, or they tend to be like dude bros. And he said on stream that it was an offhand comment. It was something about how it's the exact opposite in Germany. And he said we all agreed with him, but he didn't understand why. Because we all agreed with him because we thought, okay, they're a bunch of Germans. they're very professional. They know to make sure that they're always happy doing the work that they're doing. And he was like adamant that no, that's not what Germans are like at all. He didn't understand that if as someone looking outside to the outside in to the Germans, like the Germans love whatever they do and they do it with pride. And he couldn't understand that concept that other people don't do their own work like that. Oh, we tried to show these off last stream. These are little hex nuts that have a TR8 thread on the inside of them. These make tightening up your locking collars a lot easier. So what I do is I put them on. Let me get the camera up. Oh, I hate not having a macro pad for this type of stuff. Actually, stop working. Oh, that mouse stopped working. So you install these first. Then you install your locking collar. And then when it comes time to tightening your locking collar down, you tighten that bit down first. It puts pressure on the locking collar, and then means you get a far more stable part. It won't shake around as much, and you get less backlash. Because sometimes these grub screws can catch the thread on the inside of the locking collar and pull the locking collar out. These ones are a pain to install later on, so I'm going to install the grub screws in these now. Luckily, the LDO ones come pre-Loctited. These are rare. The only seller I've seen them on is Bulkman 3D on AliExpress. The only place I can find them. Basil on the team actually introduced me to them. I would love for them to become more popular. They're really cheap as well. They're like $2 for a set of 5. I ordered a few more this morning actually because I'm not going to have enough for this build. I'm one short for this build, but I'm actually gonna make them a standard on V2, a standard part for them. So Bulkman 3D is going to get a whole load of custom from us over at the Millennium team. The lock nuts, they come with the kit. Lock nuts? No. The hex nuts don't come with the kit. The locking collars come with the kit. Can you post a link? Yeah, sure. I hate the fact that the mouse has stopped working. TR8x8, yeah. Let me grab you a link. Oh my god. Why? Why is it the first thing AliExpress ever tries to sell you with women's underwear? Always the first thing that comes up. There we go. It should be pinned now. Yeah, the locking collars come with the kit. The hex ones don't. This was the plate, the Z plate from the first ever Milo V1.5. And I am using it now to put a dab of Loctite on so I can dip my fasteners into it. Oh, how far the mighty have fallen. Put it like this: this was around before FMJs were a thing. How many to order? 6 is what I'm planning to use on this build. So you'll need to order twice, but you can probably get away with less than that. Probably get away with just 1 set. You could probably get away with 3, if I'm being completely honest. You could probably get away with 3 if you're tactical about where you put them. I would suggest having one on either side of the bearing block on each axis. Obviously, you can't do that with the Z-axis, so I would have one on the top side bearing block where the motor mount is, and then also on the bottom end. That would be like the maximum you would need is 6, but you could probably get away with 3 if you really needed to. Right. Why have you stopped working all of a sudden? Yeah, they're really cheap, and I would suggest getting them if you're doing a build. I need some M5x20. Cheaper and fast shipping at Automation Parts Store. Depends on what country you're in. I don't know. I've never heard of Automation Parts Store. If you're in the EU or in the UK, shipping in our area takes like 2 weeks, like 10 days through AliExpress, so you might as well go through Ali. Oh, that's on AliExpress then. That's fine. Fair enough. Those of you who weren't here yesterday, it's always good for the motor mounts. Let's get you a better view, shall we? For the motor mounts, don't tighten these up all the way. God, this camera is awful. Don't tighten this up all the way. Leave at least like a quarter turn. That way, when you do finish tightening it up, so you'll tighten these bits first, and when you finish tightening this up, it will compress the entire assembly down a little bit, and means that you get slightly less backlash. It's not much, but it does help with the anti-backlash. If you lock these collars off first and then finish tightening the motor mount up, you compress the whole assembly just a little bit, and it helps out. Because if you didn't know, there are actually springs in these mounts. They're little disc springs. So you want to compress them just a tiny bit. That's enough of that view. I don't like that view. So that can move just a little bit. I can feel it in my hand there. That's good. I'm going to tighten up the locking collars next. And we'll do the hex one first. Oh. Let's move it around so I can actually get access to. I will tell Dave about them. I've only literally just used them, found out about them in the last couple of weeks, so. Right. So, as I'm tightening this up, I'm also pulling on the nut, rotating like that, and that's just putting pressure up against the locking collar as it tightens. And now that that's done, I can move it around so I can get at the locking collar now. I can tighten the locking collar up. Are you in the UK, Ben? Just caught that it came with the LDO kit. No mind. No, the hex ones don't come with the LDO kit. The locking collars come with the LDO kit. The hex ones don't. So, if I give you an example, where are they? These circular type come with the kit. The hex type, the brass ones, don't. Sweet. That is that side done. I need to add another locking collar onto this end. Oh, I need a bigger desk. You guys can see. You put another locking collar onto this side here, and then give it the same treatment. So one locking collar, one hex collar. You want to use these in combination as well, because from what I've seen, these do slip. These should only really be done to put pressure on the locking collar, and then the locking collar is what stays in place. So using them in combination is what I would do rather than just replacing them. So locking collar on first. then hex. Then we're going to put a little dab of Loctite on that. Put it on. And then as I'm tightening, I want to be screwing it in as well, like I said before. So I'm going to be pressing down in this direction on the Allen key and on the nut itself, and that should tighten it down and press the locking collar up against it. There we go. I'm going to give it a quick test. Arting streamers struggle with a little with the Fly CD1 advice on whether I should study Global HAL or Linux CNC. Go Linux CNC. Linux CNC is an industry standard. All the Tormac machines use a modified version of Linux CNC. Right? A lot of companies, I think Haas even runs Linux CNC on some of their machines. Right? Global HAL is it's a bit of a basement firmware at the moment still, and it's been around for a while. Personally, I would still go Linux CNC. I think a lot of the stuff that people struggle with, a lot of the streamers, stuff what they struggle with is because they're on stream. A lot of the time, just being on stream makes life a lot harder because you're having to interact with so many things. You have to do stuff like that, and you have to keep a crowd pleased, and you're also trying to build something at the same time. From what we've actually been testing internally, so we tested with a closed beta for a very long time, and with an open beta. And from what we've heard back from the vast majority of the community, it's actually been pretty smooth for them. The Fly CDY needs updating. We need to update that board. It won't come on V1.5. We're going to be moving to a different board for V2. There's other reasons other than the ones that have been stated by other people that we're doing that. But I can't talk about it right now because the board is yet to be released. It's yet to be even finished yet. So that's something we are working on. Right. That looks like a fairly decent x-axis. Right. Give it the old tug test. I feel absolutely no backlash there. Put a drill on it so that you can see it actually moving. It's a bad bearing by the sounds of it. Yeah. One of the bearings in here is bad. You can hear it clunking. Right. Movement's still smooth, so I'm going to leave it as that is for now. It shouldn't be too difficult to replace if it gets worse. Or I might just do that off stream. Actually, great to know. Thank you. The shop I bought it from was Princeton NC aligned and pushed for the global HAL, but I wasn't convinced. Yeah. Princeton NC guys are really nice. I actually really like their community. Something here is wrong. Ah, I know what it is. One of the locking collars isn't perfectly on center. So it's just flicking around and hitting the inside. That's fine. That can be fixed another time. Thankfully, that's an easy enough swap where you just take the bearing block off and replace the collar itself. Oh, it's already starting to get heavy. Right, so that's what I'm going to be... That's everything we're doing on this stream. Next stream, we're going to be doing some FMJs. So, these are my personal set of FMJs. I bought these a very long time ago. Well, Dave bought them for me as a little Christmas present. Those are mild steel FMJs. They should provide a good amount of stiffness. If you're not going HOI, if you're not going for a Hearts of Irons mod, that won't make too much of a difference. Having steel versus aluminium will probably have very little difference other than just making it a bit heavier. So these are the ones that come with the kit. They're a lovely anodized black, right? These are the ones that I coated myself, right? Comparatively, these are about 3 times as heavy. And much, much stiffer. Right. On top of that, I do have 2 beds as well. I have the one that comes with the LDO kit. And then I've got the first ever prototype, which actually came out beautifully, which is the full Monty. If you don't know the difference, full Monty has pin holes for it. So there's holes that you can use dowel pins in for registering against. As well as the M5 threaded bolts. And then the Continental Breakfast, which is a lot easier and a lot cheaper to make, has just the M5 holes on it. Right? They're both good options. This is way more expensive, but it's better if you need to do precision work pieces where you're registering against the same point over and over and over and over again. Right? This is good for if you're just doing one-off parts, which most people will be doing. So I have the option of either of those two. I know this one is flat. It's got a few cosmetic issues with it, and it's not anodized like the other one is. But that shouldn't affect things too much. I can always stone it down and make sure that it's all nice and flat. So those are the plans for next stream. For now, however, I'm going to take these apart. What does everyone think? How does everyone like the colors? Right, we're going to do Z-axis next time. Does anyone have any questions at all? They don't need to be stream related. They can be CASA related. They can be Milo related, V2 related. Anything you'd like before we end for the night. It is a nice purple. So this is all Eastern ABS. We don't offer the purple as a color. But we do offer the green as a color. Everything else is a base color of black. If you do want a custom color, as long as it's within the Eastern ABS range, because they are our supplier, shoot us a message on Discord, Desktop Machine Shop channel on the Discord, and we can get something done for you. What kind of cooling will you use? For what exactly? Upgrade path between V1.5 and 2, how much rework should be needed? So, this is the way versions work here at Millennium, right? If there is a major denomination, so V1 to V2, nothing is compatible, right? They are redesigned from the ground up to work with their own set of parts. So V1.5 and V2, you'll have to have completely different parts for them. For minor denominations, so V1.4 to V1.5, that hardware will work across the two platforms, or there'll be an upgrade path to follow, right? So that's what happened with, so V1.5 and V1.4 had the exact same plates, or at least the mounting holes were exactly the same. The thickness was a bit different. The thickness on the V1.5 plates was actually a bit thicker. So that's how the versions work. You won't be able to upgrade from V1.5 to V2. That said, we will always make sure that there's at least one or two minor denominations within a lifeline of machines. So there will always be, when V2 comes out, I can assure you there's going to be a V2.1, a V2.2 maybe, and maybe even a V2.3, right? And those will always be upgrade paths. You'll always be able to upgrade V2 to V2.3, for example. For bit cooling, I assume you mean like end mill cooling and all that kind of stuff. In that case, I'm just going to be using an air blast. I tend to spray a bit of WD-40 on all my cuts at the beginning and then not touch it again. I might move to a mist cooler now that I've got that, but I also have a carpet in here, so I don't want it to accumulate in this room. I have enough problems with VOCs as it is. Will V2 be in the same spirit as a V1.5, or is it possible it will be a completely different machine style? No, so we are developing some other machines, right? Milo is just a plain simple 3-axis machine that we're developing. It's going to be in the same kind of style. We are going to be, we're talking about doing a router. We don't know if we're going to do it because we need to figure out how it's going to be different to all the other routers on there, because I don't want to just recycle a router design that someone else has already put out. I don't want there to be anything that's similar to anyone else. I've always thought of like a jokey printer, a jokey machine like a Polar CNC, which I think would be awesome, but really difficult to use. Same kind of vein as the Voron Legacy, something that doesn't make sense to build, but it's a fun thing to do. Yeah, but it will still be the same kind of machine. Yeah. I guess V2 will be a lathe. No, V2 is not going to be a lathe. Dave does want to do a lathe at some stage. I don't know how useful that is, because you can buy a mini lathe for about 500 quid to 800 nowadays, in the UK even, and then upgrade it to CNC for another 500. I don't think we'd be able to do something that's an equal bang for buck with extrusions. It would have to be a fully custom machined machine with very few standard parts. A lathe would be awesome. Millennium Shoreline replacement. Have you found a decent air pump? Yes, kind of. So I am working on a reaction compressor. By reaction compressor, I'm using the same kind of lingo as when they talk about reactance energy, like big grid systems and things like that. What I mean is, it doesn't have a compressed air storage, but it can spin up and get up to a compress air quickly, so that you can just press a button and you can spray chips away every now and again. 5-axis machine. There's no point for us to make a 5-axis machine, right? The hobbyist license for Fusion, which everyone is using, is limited to 3 axes. If we make a 5-axis machine, you won't be able to use it. Once Fusion or some other hobby level program becomes the standard, then we can think about doing 4th and 5 axes work. 4th axis you can get away because you can program it manually to do turns, and that's pretty easy to do. But having a 5th axis just makes no sense. Yeah, so that's going to be part of one of the CASA modules, is that pump. It's too big to fit as one of the standard parts of Milo. In any of the electronics bays, it would take up the entirety of that electronics bay. But because CASA's electronics bay is so big, we can fit things like that in there. Currently, I'm running into more of a budget limitation with it. I want to keep it under a certain amount, and I'm not managing to do that for the power that it's taking to use. Effectively, I've got two bird air pumps. If you don't know what a bird air pump is, I don't have one that's loose at the moment. That's linked into the same manifold, and that is creating the pressure that I need. And that's two 24-volt pumps, effectively. They don't take a lot of power to run. They are really quick to spool up. And they're really quick to create actual compressed air. If you're looking like at a CPAP fan, CPAP fans don't create a lot of compressed air, or at least they're more of a high air flow. That's why they're great for 3D printer cooling. They don't compress the air very well. The bird air pumps do. Cheaper than a hydrovane. I have no idea what hydrovane is. Yeah, each one of those bird air pumps is like a tenner. I want to keep the entirety of the BOM for that pump below 50 quid, because you can buy brushed airbrush compressors for about 50 quid here in the UK. Yes, you'd have to modify them. Yes, there'd be a lot more work involved, but I still want to keep that BOM cost quite low. Anyways, I think that's going to be everything for tonight. I'm going to continue tomorrow because I've got a few days off and I would love to get this done by then. We're going to continue with the Z-axis, maybe get onto the electronics box, and then we'll mount it in CASA. I don't think you'll be able to see when I mount it in CASA, not until I've done all the electronic side of things. Could I recycle my laser air assist pump? I don't know. Is your air assist a high flow pump, or is it a high pressure pump? Right? High pressure pump is what you need. A high flow pump is not. Right. Night, guys. Hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you hopefully tomorrow. Have a good night.